That was GWS recruiting manager Adrian Caruso on the prospect of picking up Tom Green tonight. We are back on draft night, countdown on afl.com.au and the AFL Live official app, and we are privileged to be joined by the new Fremantle coach, Justin Longmuir. Justin, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, boys.
How are you finding it? Your first month or so in the job? How's it all tracking?
Yeah, it's been really good, and I suppose the first month or so is probably the easiest part. I get to build relationships, get to meet everyone at the football club. I suppose what's made it a little bit easier is that there's some familiar faces around from when I was there last time, so that's helped me settle in, yeah.
James Aish, in his press conference a couple of weeks ago, said you start every training session with a joke. And if it's true, do you want to give us one here? Have you got something for us? Is it right?
No, it's right, but I'm not a funny person. So I usually find some material on Twitter when I'm flicking through or on YouTube and try and link it back to either someone in the room or just trying to be a little bit more lighthearted. But joke telling is not really my go.
How have you found the group as a whole? I mean, these are guys that you would have watched from afar for a few years now and seen progress in different ways. What's your take after being a month there in the seat?
Yeah, really dedicated group and really driven to help the club get better, and that's been outstanding to come into an environment like that. The first 2 weeks is a good time because you get to spend a lot of time with the first to 4 year players and the young guys and get to know what makes them tick, and we've got some really good characters in amongst that group, so we're really driven as a coaching group to develop all those players and give them the best opportunity to be the best they can be.
Hearing you speak previously in your first couple of press conferences, you've been big on adding skill to the Dockers, and that's maybe been one of their knocks in the last couple of years under Ross Lyon was their lack of skill. How much have you driven that in the first month? And I see you've added Mark LeCras in the short time you've been there.
Yeah, it's something that I'm really strong on, is to develop our players holistically. So a large part of that is improving their craft, and I've had our coaches put a lot of work into designing drills that best allow them to improve their skills so that we can execute on game day. I mean, you can kick the ball as much as you want, but we wouldn't need those kicks to transfer to becoming a better game day kick. So I feel like we've done that. We've had a big emphasis on it. Mark LeCras has come on board. He'll have an impact on that. But the existing coaches know our players really well, and they've gone about setting up a really strong program that hopefully gives them the best opportunity to execute on game day.
You've got a pretty skillful player that's likely to join your club over the next couple of nights in Liam Henry. How much have you seen of him, and how much, being a new face at the club, coming into the club, have you got involved in the draft night process?
Yeah, well, I've had a limited impact, I would say, on the recruiters. I mean, for me to come in and tell them what to do would be a wrong thing to do. I'm about empowerment, about roles and responsibility as a coach. So, they've put a lot of time into watching these young kids all throughout the year. They would have watched hours and hours of each player play on live and on tape. So I'll back them in to make the calls tonight. On Lamb, he's clearly got a lot of talent. He's come through our NGA Academy. He's a fantastic person as well, and that's really important.
Have you got a tie off him yet? Have you heard about the tie business?
I've heard about it, but I haven't spent enough time with him to get a tie yet. So
he's got a few. I think he's got a few in purple. He's got a business with a couple of his friends as well, Indigenous dot painting or artwork paintings that he puts on ties and sells, and it's a great idea and a great concept that's gone gangbusters. I think, and a few players. I think a couple of guys, Sonny Walters, has bought and modelled a couple over time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just shows his character. He's really invested in becoming a really good person on and off the field, and we'll be privileged to have him at the club if that happens tonight.
We know the Fremantle recruiting team is renowned as one of the hardest working in the business and in the game, but where do you see pick 7 and 8 landing tonight? What would you like to add? And Hayden Young, Caleb Sarong and Dylan Stevens, who was just on the show, has been linked to as possibilities. Are they guys that are right in the mix in your eyes? Yeah,
well, I mean, every club goes about doing their orders, and we're a little bit unsure of what clubs are going to pick in front of us, so we're really confident that we'll get some really talented young players, and most importantly, the kids that are coming through are of high character, and that's really important for our footy club. It's pretty clear that we lost Hill and Langdon in the trade period, so we'll be looking to add a little bit of depth in that area. Having said that, we got Asian Acres into the side to fill those roles as well. So we're just about adding depth and adding good players, and just like any other club, I suppose.
You've seen the WA influence from both sides, being at the Dockers as a player, the Eagles as an assistant coach, and then at Collingwood, the go-home factor. How much does that weigh into the decision tonight? And I know you won't be calling the names, but how much of an influence do you see that having on prospective players?
Yeah, I think it plays a part, but as a footy club, we need to back ourselves in to get the best talent, and set up an environment where kids want to stay for the entirety of their career. And we're in the early stages of that at the moment, but that's what we're looking to build. We're looking to build an environment where players think that if they want to be the best they can be, Fremantle's the place to be.
Now, the Dockers might have stitched you up on social media today. They posted a photo from when you were drafted to the Dockers all those years ago. We're going to show the photo here for those that are watching. What are your memories of the first early days as Justin Longmuir as a Docker?
Yeah, well, I haven't aged a bit, have I? Yeah, I remember the draft day really, really clearly. I was actually in the studio in Perth. I think it was broadcast on Channel 7 back in the day. So, I was there with my mum and dad, and my brother got drafted the year before. So he was able to guide me through it. But, yeah, there's some horrible pictures. And it's funny you say that because Brendan Cox and Luke Ryan sent me through one the other day, and it was worse than that. So I'm glad the Dockers didn't post that one. I think it was in the West they saw that. So it's always good to have a bit of banter at my expense.
Have they fixed their hair, those two?
Yeah, they have.
Was that a directive from you?
Yeah, it was. Nah, not at all. Not at all. I'm about players really being themselves, and I want them to express themselves and bring all of themselves all the time. So to have the characters like that around the football club is a good thing. They got up in front of the group the other day and took the mickey out of a few coaches, which all the players had a good laugh at. So they've been really good.
You talk about players expressing themselves. What's the brand or what's the style that we should expect from Fremantle next year?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm a really defensive-minded coach, but overall I want our players to play on instinct. I want them to read the cues of the game in front of them and play what's in front of them. I don't want to be too prescriptive as a coach. I don't want to be telling our players to do this, to do that. I want them to bring their God-given talents to their role and to our team, and they need to play team footy, but I just want them to play on instinct, and I want them to play what's in front of them.
Bit of a scare on Sunday night. We learned the news of Jesse Hogan being involved in a car crash. He was taken to hospital, but back at training. Can you talk us through how Jesse's going and how the last couple of days have been for him and the footy club?
Yeah, it was actually Sunday morning. He had a car accident, really innocuous situation. He was back at training Monday, had a few cuts and grazes, but he seemed in really good spirits and a little bit sheepish about flipping his car, but he's as from a body point of view, he was fine, and jumped straight back into work on Monday morning, so that was positive.
How is he going just with the foot?
He's going well. He's progressing in his rehab really well. Last week he was pumping out 7 kilometres on the track, run wise, and goal kicking and starting to build his kicking load. So. This is hopefully a minor blip on the radar, and hopefully he can keep progressing really well.
The club had 2 top 5 picks a few years ago in Andrew Brayshaw and Adam Chera. How's their development going, and what roles do you see for them this year? We've seen Chera in particular play a couple of different ones off half-back. He moved into the midfield last year and really seemed to impress there.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure they got drafted to become midfielders, so I want to give them the best opportunity they can to play midfield. I understand that you can't be 100% midfielder these days. You have to be a little bit flexible, whether that's on a wing or half forward. But they'll get best opportunity under Josh Carr, our new midfield coach, to develop there, and hopefully we give them some opportunity early in the year in those positions.
Justin, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate your time, and good luck tonight with picks 7 and 8, and then good luck next year in your first full season in charge of the Dockers.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.